Hey, what's up, people? Even though I was not present in the Apple Worldwide Developers Conference, I really took my time to watch the whole event in order to get something that has to do with medicine. And luckily, there are certain things I really would want to share. And I mean, there are certain things I would have loved they should have added to some of the things they brought out. So let's get straight into it. Wait, before we do that, please take your time to subscribe to this channel. Don't forget to leave a like and also comment in the comment section, even if you have to say hello. All right, unlike me, most of you guys have Apple devices. What makes it powerful is the software that runs on it. Luckily, I was not at the hospital yesterday, so I had the opportunity to watch the whole 2024 Apple Worldwide Developers Conference, which I must say I really enjoyed. But the main reason why I watched the whole conference was to know what have been added to their software when it comes to health. And so these are some of the things I really took out of the whole event. So let's start with the Vision OS. Now, the Vision OS 2, certain things have been added to it, which will really help developers to put certain apps that will help us medically. So before the Apple Vision Pro was released earlier this year in February, there were certain devices that were in existence that could help doctors practice certain surgical procedures before they get into their OR. Well, because they've now made it much better that, certain things can be really practiced, immensely before you get into the OR. It just feels like you're in the OR. As much as this is going to be so useful to a lot of doctors, it's not going to be shipped to Africa. Well, Apple did announce that customers in China mainland, Hong Kong, Japan, and Singapore can pre-order Apple Vision Pro on June 13th, and customers in Australia, Canada, France, Germany, and the UK can also pre-order on June 28th. So, it's unfortunate that it's not going to be in Africa, but at the end of the day, you can tell your uncle in the UK, your brother in the UK to get you one. Then you can, use it by air or whatever to get it here in Africa. But then you cannot have a wholesale. It's not going to be possible except if they decide to ship something here to Africa. So for the iPad OS 18, there's something I really saw which I think a lot of doctors can take advantage of, as well as medical students and even students in general. Now, there's this thing called the mouse note. All you need is your Apple Pencil, obviously. Now, the moment you put an equation, you just need to put an equal sign and a value pops up. The answer comes up straight up. So I think it's going to be so simple. Imagine someone calculating the Hessenbach equation, just like putting the variables elsewhere, and the system just picks these variables, puts it in the equation, and provides you with an answer for you to just calculate a pH value. So I think this is something which will help a lot of students not to, think a lot, obviously, but it makes work faster. That's what machine is about. And so, like I said, it's the software that runs on this particular devices that makes it so powerful. So if you could just put, an equation and tell the system that, look, put these variables in this equation with an equal sign, I should give you a value. It does. So simple. You don't have to go through a lot. It's so simple that a lot of students can take advantage of the iPad OS 18. All you have to do is just dig in deep. And I think this is the only thing I think will be beneficial to a lot of students. Aside that, you can also write and the system corrects your A, your B, your handwriting. You don't have to be worried about the fact that your handwriting is not neat. You don't write so small and stuff like that. The system identifies whatever alphabet you are writing and write it so neatly with a very nice font. You don't have to have, different fonts all over. It does the work for you perfectly. So I think there's something a lot of students can take advantage of, a lot of medical students as well as doctors. Finally, it boiled down to my favorite part, the Watch OS 11. Why do I say it's my favorite part? Because it's the software that embodies a lot of health app. And so I paid close attention to whatever they were saying. And obviously, they came up with what they call the Vital app. The Vital app, as the name suggests already, is the app that takes into consideration your body temperature, your heart rate, your respiratory rate, your sleep duration, and your blood oxygen. Mind you, the Apple Watch still cannot take your blood pressure, if not with other apps where it just have to track your blood pressure. So that's what it does for now. But there was one thing that they really integrated that I found very, very helpful. Now, at the moment where you are sleeping, you don't know what's really happening in your body. Your watch actually takes control. It tells you when you were outlined during your sleep, your heart rate. And one thing I really didn't like they did was the fact that they tell you that it could be that you are sick. I believe what they could have told you to do is to go and see a doctor, and not to have at the back of your mind that, look, when your heart rate is high, it could be the fact that you have certain illness. No, That's not how it's supposed to be done. And they also attach it to the fact that it could be that you are taking too much alcohol. Who does that? I don't think it's the right thing to do. All right, but then best advice is just tell the person to go and see a doctor. Well, apart from the fact that they are telling us that if your heart rate is above normal, it could be that you are sick or you are taking too much alcohol. There are certain things that is integrated that will really help pregnant women, obviously. So what they've done is that with the combination of the iOS 18 from your iPhone and iPad, OS 18 from your iPad, you can actually track certain symptoms among pregnant women, especially your heart rate, which tends to increase during pregnancy, and also your mental state, which is very important because pregnant women tend to have depression during pregnancy. So it tells you at which stage you are in every aspect of your pregnancy, because at the latter part of your pregnancy, people tend to have depression. Now, aside that, there is this new features that has to do with gesture that is being integrated in the iOS watch OS 11. I keep on saying iOS 18 because that's what we are used to. Now, they used their own popular example where a mother is giving is breastfeeding the baby and the baby slept along the way. Instead of you, moving all over to set timer to know at what time your baby slept and for how long your baby is going to sleep for, you can just tap your 2 fingers and then there you go, you set your timer, which I think is not in that aspect alone. It's going to help us medical doctors in different ways. Imagine taking the blood pulse of your patient and you have to stop and set your timer on your phone and stuff like that. Instead of you just, tapping your fingers. So it's okay to just do that, right? It's going to be very helpful when you are taking the respiratory rate of your patient. So I think it's going to be very, very helpful in the medical domain. Finally, the Apple Intelligence is here. There was no point in time they call it AI in the keynote. All they said was Apple Intelligence. Well, if they choose to call it Apple Intelligence, we will also call it Apple Intelligence. But what's funny is that they really have to work with an AI, artificial intelligence, to be able to produce certain things. Let's get into it. I think this is going to help a lot of medical doctors as well as medical students, and finally, students in general. Now, sometimes, there are a bunch of things they placed in there which is not of interest to me at the moment. But then what's really interesting is the fact that you can actually ask Siri and Siri suggests to you that, look, I'm going to check on OpenAI to get certain information. It's the popular ChatGPT, which is upgraded to ChatGPT 4. So when you talk to Siri, Siri feels like, no, I don't have much idea on this. Let me check if OpenAI can produce these ideas. And then I think it's helpful in a way that it's giving you a permission, asking you, so if ChatGPT does not produce the answer, would Siri give you the answer? That's the question I've been asking all along. But well, let's see what happens when it finally makes its way onto our devices. Now, apart from these things that I've revealed, there are certain things that they talked about which I can talk about on this channel today. I decided to leave it aside. Obviously, the health app of the iOS 18 has a lot of things that is being integrated. I'll talk about in another video. But this is all I have for you guys. It's up to you guys to discover certain things from your phone. I'm not here to tell you all about it, but what's really going to be helpful is the ones I've told you about. So this is the end of the video, and I hope I've not bored you with a lot of tech medical stuff. And please do it to subscribe to the channel if you've not subscribed, and obviously leave a comment in the comment section and like this video. This has been it once again. See you guys in the next one.